It's not often I say this, but it's very often that it happens. I am in love, as is typical for me. And also, as is typical for me, it's one-sided and probably will end up with me on probation. I beg you to meet my queen, my honey drop, my absolute trash queen, Alicia. Isn't she just perfect? I can hear her already calling me a while she throws dishes at my head just by looking at images alone. Just the way God intended all good marriages to be. Now all I need is for her to have ridiculously huge jugs and absolutely no arse whatsoever, and I would truly be in white trash heaven. Bonus points if we meet at a boomer band concert where I eye her across the dance hall chugging 4 beers in a row.
God damn, Billy. Who's that beautiful girl over there?
Well, that's Alicia.
Well, that's gonna be my bride.
Here I go on my own again. That's gotta be our wedding song, obviously. Truth be told, I know this will never happen, as we're nowhere near one another in proximity. And unfortunately, my white trash queen already has her prince, a Mr. Barham Alipur, who is both the subject and the victim of today's fairy tale. First and foremost, the thing you need to know most about Alicia is she is, for lack of a more respectful and better word, an extremely messy bitch. She cut her teeth in the showbiz by being part of Howard Stern many moons ago. For all of the kids out there, and trust me, I know you feel old, Howard Stern was basically the Neon of his day, except he was actually popular and well liked. I'm sure you've seen this character before, a Mr. Beetlejuice. Well, him and people like him were used as props in Howard's sick and twisted little game. A term coined that most accurately describes Howard Stern as a person is the shock jockey, aka a radio DJ that goes out of their way to be edgy and attempts to be humorous with it, as opposed to your standard radio DJ that just talks the biggest load of wank imaginable. You're listening to 94.5 KFM.
You know, people ask me all the time, Dino, what's the best way to bake a cake? And I always tell them, anyone that has a lethal amount of cyanide in it, because my life is a living misery hell.
Alicia's role on Howard Stern was basically to be eye candy, as well as music, but that was more just an excuse for Howard to have a parade around the studio in a bikini, which tells us a lot about her as a person. Let's be straight about this. Sexy or not, appearing on a shock jock radio station, especially in a bikini, probably means that your life is not going super chill. And it also means you're probably willing to do whatever it takes for fame. Simply put, you probably have a narcissistic personality. And even more simply put than that, you're probably willing to do whatever it takes to get to that next level. For Alicia, whose career has gone stagnant ever since her Howard Stern appearances, she had no choice but to try and take the online route in a new attempt to try and grasp the fame that she's so desperately after. And it kind of worked because she is now pretty much infamous. You remember how I used the word victim when referring to Barham, who, if I was not clear, is Alicia's boyfriend?
My enemy.
Well, it turns out our prince was in fact a king because he was cheating on Alicia, or Elisha. I'm never gonna say that right, but who cares? He deserves a crown. Take a look at my boy here again. Take a look at Elisha again. My man is a hero. Gone are the days when an honest working man could have a bit of strange on the side no matter what they look like. And way gone are the days where you were ugly but you could at least pass by. This dude pretty much pulled a 1940s act, being the 5'1" facially challenged oak in the town, who gets to date the hottest girl in town simply because he isn't related to her. Let's call a spade, Barham is an ugly bastard. So it makes it even more impressive that not only did he pull the queen of the caravan side, but had the game and confidence to cheat on her. I don't use that word lightly. Barham is truly a hero to us all. My oak here has 2 girls, and you can't get a call back. Shocking. God, never mind, his dad's worth $45 million, and he is currently in between jobs. For a broke person, that means unemployed and skint. For a rich kid, that just means finding your passion at the young age of 45. You do hate to see your heroes become villains. Although, money or not, it sounds so mean, but it would be very hard to look past this. So I'm still giving my boy some props. Not as much, but you know, he still gets the round of applause. Praise aside, unfortunately, Elisha or Alicia found out about his secret pickle tickles, and was none too pleased about it at all. I've heard it said, and it really upsets me when I hear it, when women say they shouldn't give the ugly guy a chance because he's just as bad as the rest, so you may as well date hot. And normally I wouldn't agree, but in this case I'd probably be pissed as well. She is straight up doing this guy a service. He literally reminds me of Danny DeVito's Penguin, same build and everything. And he's still split on her? Madness and badness, but unrelated but related, I don't want to be dragging Danny DeVito. He seems like such a nice man. I just can't see him in a sexual context at all.
Girl, I'm so hard.
Upon finding out about Barham's indiscretion, Elisha or Alicia goes a little bit stir crazy and has an absolutely mad meltdown. As I've said, she's a live streamer, so God forbid that any part of her life or any aspect of her life be personal, so she had to live stream the entire event. What starts off as a very teary expression of pure grief very quickly turns her into doxing his side piece, even leaking her number while in the middle of a call while she's driving and live streaming, which is obviously dangerous in of itself. If I remember right, there was that streamer that was live streaming her driving and she ran over a cat or a kid, I can't remember, so it is an inherently dangerous thing to do. But it gets worse. Barham's side piece isn't being made aware that she is being recorded and live streamed to potentially tens of hundreds of people. It's pretty obvious that Elisha or Lisa isn't exactly a popular streamer in of itself, but I still wouldn't be happy with even 10 people having my information. And to record and live stream me while we're having presumably an intimate conversation, I might accidentally reveal some truths about myself that I'd rather have people not know. Her rant and spiral continues until our beautiful queen ends up at the mall, where she somehow got access to Barham's funds. She then allegedly withdraws a wad of cash out of his accounts, presumably for a spending spree. It was around this time or this point that our boy Swipe Chin gets informed of these transactions taking place on his card and or was informed by the side piece about his current girlfriend Spiral. Not long after her flexing like a Lil Wayne music video, she is stopped just outside of the mall by a police officer. And who else shows up not long after but the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Playboy Barham himself, leading to this altercation on site.
I called Sarah. You Sorry. Do you want to go to jail? Not really, no.
Now, unbelievably, after being struck and a verbal argument ensuing, they both climbed into the same car together and drove off, where things only escalated more and more. YouTube, in their grand wisdom, won't allow me to show domestic battery, spoil sports. We all grew up around this stuff almost every single day. I'm pretty sure we're numb to it by now, but I guess I'll have to do the next best thing and describe it to you. After repeated strikes to Mr. Barham's face, one of which nearly broke his damn nose, and I mean literally, Barham makes a very clear and very stern threat.
Next time you f***ing touch me, I'll f***ing deck you. You understand?
Alicia or Elisha, of course, absolutely ignores what he said, resulting in Barham, in self-defense, yanking on her hair to get her to stop hitting him, whilst instructing her to pull over at the same time, resulting in her, as soon as the car stops, running up to anybody who will listen and trying to play victim. Unsurprisingly, not long after, the police show up, and even more unsurprisingly, Elisha or Elisa is put into handcuffs, you know, because she recorded her fucking crime, and is blatantly clearly the aggressor in all of this. Before I get into the aftermath, I'm gonna have to break this down with some basic math G. Criticisms have been hurled at both parties in this whole shebang, such as, oh well, the Crimson Chin cheated, which I respond, okay, well, he got abused. Oh, but the Crimson Chin was also allegedly being racist. Okay, but he was still getting abused. Oh, but he allegedly shared nudes of his side piece with others. Shut the fuck up. He was abused. And both of those two claims I just said came directly from our beautiful trash queen, so she's not exactly a reliable narrator. And again, first and foremost, say it with me now, boys, he was being abused. Dude can be an absolute piece of shit. Cheat or not cheat still doesn't mean you can go around slapping a hoe just because you're a woman. Even though you were warned repeatedly that if you carried on hitting him, he was going to have to take action. And that's exactly what he did. Some of you ladies will get aggressive like a man, hit like a man, but suddenly become a woman again when the tables get flipped on you in self-defense. She was extremely lucky just to be restrained by her bloody head and not to get UFC flying knee to the nose. Does she have every single right to be upset? Yeah, of course. But her reaction wasn't way left field. Her reaction was off the fucking mound. If this was the 1900s, she would have been put in a mental asylum for this. Oh, Barham, I hate to trouble you, dear husband.
What is it, dear?
Well, I found lipstick on your collar. I know I haven't been as affectionate towards you because I am so busy with my Tupperware business. But to cheat on me, it is absolutely my fault and I apologize. But I do think we should see a counselor together.
That sounds great, dear. Let me make the phone call. Doctor! My wife is hysterical, lobotomize her.
As it stands on this date, the fallout of the violent breakup is that Elisha or Alicia is still claiming to be the victim in typical crazy person fashion, sharing in a video that parts of her hair have been ripped out, and if you look closely at the hair, it does appear that some chunks have been cut off. But to that point, if you look at her overall as a person, she's batshit crazy, and I do not have a hard time believing that the same woman who doxed a stranger and leaked her Venmo account on livestream, as well as shared her personal details in a private Discord could easily be the same woman that cuts her own hair in specific parts to make herself look like more of a victim. Not to mention, she is currently being charged with felony battery, so she'll probably be looking at every single way she can try to wriggle out of this. Especially because if found guilty, she might have to pay a fine of $10,000 to her cheating ex, among other things. And also another point to remember is our boy, our king, our hero, is a trust fund baby, so if this went to litigation in any way, he could absolutely bury her. Just like you need to bury your face into the ass cheeks of Dino's channel and legally subscribe. It's been a pleasure as always, and I'll see you later. Bye bye.